herself. Instead, she chose the devil and is feeling suicidal. It was her decision to choose the devil rather than the saints, all the saints who are my witness. So that's the example of me finishing washing Luby's feet and her free will to love and care about me and Jesus. But she obviously loves and cares about money and the devil's representatives more than me. Because she drives a car and because she has more friends than me and she's the center of attention, which is an evil, mad woman, Indian woman. So she's taken away my friend in the name of India, and in the name of India that has taken away my daughter. Why India? Is it a gypsy? Most definitely. So, do gypsies originate from India? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe they do. But the Jews and the gypsies are very similar. They're all Arabs, and yet because of so many mixed marriages, they don't call themselves Arabs anymore because of their mixed race, which is also a perversion to say that Jews today, modern day Jews, which are half caste, are against Arabs, when in fact themselves they originate, they come from Arabs. Idiots. And this is the curse and the condemnation of my father, who actually believes that gypsies and Jews come from Arabs, that come from India and Arabs. So India and Arabs are not the same. India is opposite from Arabs. I'm sure of that. The fact that India are not the same as Arabs. They're more similar to English. So I have a card here which is also possessive and obsessive by a demon spirit, which reminds me of my current counselor. I don't need a counselor, but I just, out of curiosity, they say curiosity kills a cat. I'm following and subscribed to Richard Grainin, who's also has a fascination with these trees, these fern trees. And this is why. It's a condemnation. It's witchcraft. So what they have done for evil, God can turn for my good. So that's why I started following out of curiosity. But they say curiosity kills the cat. So it totally destroyed me, the fact that I'm subscribing to Richard Grainin. They're accusing me of fancying him, of calling him my internet boyfriend. Any man that I'm following or subscribing, I'm automatically accused of having an internet boyfriend, which of course I don't. So this is an example on how they perverse anything that I subscribe to on the internet. So the genuine boyfriend would be the one that sees me face to face, not on the internet. But God has condemned them and actually made it real. That's again, whoever has genuine care for me on the internet, God has made it real to condemn the devil, as if they are in the same room with me face to face. So this is what my daughter has written to Mum. I think she was 13 before she became adulterated, before she became a teenage slag. While she still had that last bit of love seed in her heart. I hope that you have a lovely Christmas, and I do miss you. No, it doesn't say I do. It just says I miss you, or miss you. What you going to do now? Kiss me with the kiss of betrayal, the same as your father did, with her tongue sticking out. Best wishes, your daughter Ellen. In other words, that picture of me and her in the photo album of her dressed out in a tiger costume, she's got her tongue sticking out there. So that's in her mind. But she doesn't feel like my daughter anymore. This does not feel like my daughter. It feels like a human animal cursed who is being sexually groomed at an animal farm for the reasons I have stated, that I have no access to my daughter, only 4 times a year. It's a business of child abuse. And all these photographs that I have, I'm now going to display these photographs. And so this Beelzebub, according to my Christian faith, is what destroyed Christians and what persecuted Christians and what killed Christians. So Beelzebub, they accused me of worshipping my daughter because most of these pictures are of my daughter. And of course, I hadn't been worshipping my daughter. I worshipped God in spirit and in truth. So these photographs as evidence counts for nothing that I took care of my daughter for 10 years versus their 10 years of destruction, my 10 years of building her spirit, building her person, building her ability to understand her purpose in life is to honor her mum, and she did, and to respect God, and to enjoy receiving the love of God, who anointed her in the Holy Spirit. But whatever God gives, God can also take away, according to King Solomon, who was the wisest man. He had the most money and the most resources. So this is what I'm up against. This is that King Solomon or David. So I'm now going to die in the spirit of King David, in the spirit of Jesus Christ. I'm now dying again as a result of my daughter's betrayal through my foster mum, Anne, and as a result of Children's Social Services betrayal, to say I'm not allowed to be a single mum because I don't drive a car, because I don't have a husband, I don't pay my taxes, and I'm in poverty. I'm claiming eligible state benefits to survive for being tortured under mental health, tormented under Children's Social Services, for being a young widow, divorced, forced to feel like I'm still married to him when in fact I'm divorced for 7 years. He died. So I'm something worse than a widow, an unloved woman who is forced to relive a history of 7, 8 years, or 6, 7, 8 years after the divorce and after his death. So they're punishing me without a crime, all in the name of capitalism and Beelzebub, sex god and goddess, and money god and goddess. And they're the ones who are making they're making cupcakes and whatever else. So what are they worshipping? They're worshipping the dead man, and they're worshipping the fact that I feel guilty for taking this photograph. So this is the only indecent photograph I took, and I regretted it. I felt ashamed of taking it. Why? Because her father is a pervert. He was tempted to be a paedophile. I have no evidence whether he actually was tempted, because tempted and actually doing something indecent to a child from age 4 and 5 when I wasn't watching are two different things. And is it because of me that he was tempted for taking this photograph that I felt guilty all these years? Or I think he only saw this photograph once and the picture stayed in his mind. When I was with my daughter at age 1, she was not age 1 yet. She was only 7 months here, or 5 years old. So I cleaned her bottom. It wasn't her dad. I changed her nappy and her clothing about 3 or 4 times a day. I made sure that she was well washed. I toilet trained her. She was always protected with Vaseline and other creams as a baby. So they're saying I've made this up, that he died a dignitary death. There's no evidence that he designed his suicide, only I am suffering here because he told me he was overdosing on pills that he shouldn't have taken during his bypass surgery on his heart. He only told me, he didn't tell anyone else over the telephone. So if the government can trace that telephone call based in my property where I lived at 20 Swallows Oak, Abbots Langley, WD50LF, WD50L Lima F for Foxtrot, WD50LF. If that call can be traced, then there is evidence that he did actually design his own death. And anyone that designs their own death, either because of physical pain and mental pain that he had sexually abused my daughter as a paedophile when he was bathing her and gave her baths. When he gave her baths, there was no one there to watch him or supervise him. So with God as my witness, either he did